What if a quiet repairman in a sleepy town unknowingly unlocked the key to interdimensional balance, just by fixing a strange device no one else understood? In the next 30 seconds, your view of reality might just crack open, because this story isn't about magic. It's about one man, a choice, and the ripple that changed the universe. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and show some love with a thumbs up by liking the video. Now, let's dive into this extraordinary journey. The rain had been falling steadily all afternoon in the quiet city of Woodvale. It wasn't a dramatic storm, no lightning streaking the sky or trees being ripped from the ground, but the kind of soft, endless drizzle that seemed to slow time down. Most people had already packed up and gone home, retreating to warm kitchens and quiet living rooms. On the narrow stretch of Elman Street, tucked between a florist and a dusty old bookstore, a small repair shop glowed faintly through the gray. Inside, Noah Reyes was wiping down his workbench and getting ready to close for the night. Noah was 34, quiet by nature, and had the hands of someone who worked carefully with delicate things. His shop was his world, half-organized chaos, half sanctuary. The shelves were lined with half-repaired phones, circuit boards, and boxes of parts with labels like "Maybe Still Works" or "Definitely Fried." People came in with gadgets that other places had turned away. For most of them, Noah was the last stop before the trash bin. He was halfway to switching off the neon open sign when the bell above the door jingled softly. A woman stepped inside, moving slowly, almost carefully, like someone carrying something fragile. She wore a long gray coat heavy with rain, and her shoes squished quietly as she walked. Her age was hard to guess. Her face was pale and wrinkled, but her posture was too strong, her presence too sharp to match the frail appearance. The most striking thing, though, were her eyes. They were a pale golden color, and in the soft light of the shop they seemed to shimmer slightly. "Sorry," Noah said automatically. "I was just about to close." The woman didn't flinch. She simply stepped forward and placed a strange metallic case on the counter. It didn't look like a laptop bag or anything Noah had seen before. The edges were too smooth, the color too alive. It shimmered faintly, with a hue that seemed to shift the more you looked at it. "I heard you fix what others throw away," she said. Her voice carried a faint accent, familiar but hard to place. "European, maybe? Or older than that?" Noah hesitated. There was something strange about her, but not in a frightening way. It was the kind of strange that made your curiosity lean in instead of step back. "I'll take a look," he said, motioning toward the case. But no promises. The woman smiled, but it wasn't warm. It was a knowing kind of smile, like she already understood what was going to happen. She unzipped the case slowly and turned it toward him. Noah leaned forward and froze. Inside was a device unlike anything he'd ever seen. It was roughly the size of a tablet, but that's where the similarities ended. Its surface was smooth and glowed faintly like moonlight caught in glass. Symbols etched around the edges seemed to shift and flicker, never staying still long enough to read. He reached out and gently ran a finger along the side. The surface was warm, and the symbols pulsed softly in response to his touch. "This isn't exactly a smartphone," he said, trying to keep his voice light. "I don't need a smartphone fixed," she replied. "I need this awakened." Noah looked up, unsure if he'd heard her right. But before he could ask, she reached into her coat and pulled out a small envelope. She placed it beside the device and opened it to reveal $500 bills, crisp, clean, and real. "Name your price," she said simply. Noah blinked. It was too much money for a job he hadn't agreed to, and definitely too much for something that looked like it belonged in a museum or on an alien spaceship. "This could be anything," he said. "It might not even work. It will," she interrupted. "You're the only one who can." And then, without another word, she turned and walked out into the rain, disappearing into the gray before he could say anything more. For a long moment, Noah just stood there, staring at the shimmering device. He thought about locking it away, forgetting it ever happened. But the truth was, he was already hooked. There was something about the way it reacted to his touch, the way it almost seemed alive. Carefully, he brought it back into his workshop and sat down. He worked for hours. At first, he just examined it, trying to understand its structure. It wasn't metal or glass or anything he could identify. He used every tool he had, scanning it, testing for power, searching for any clue to how it worked. Nothing responded until, just after midnight, by accident or maybe instinct, he touched a pattern of symbols in a specific sequence. Instantly, the device vibrated softly and began to glow. A soft hum filled the room as a beam of light rose from the center of the tablet, creating a floating display in the air above the bench, swirls of color, lines of shifting symbols, and finally, a clear message in simple English. Interface initiating. Searching for compatible user. Noah leaned back slowly, heart pounding. This was not a broken phone. This was something else entirely. Noah didn't sleep that night. After the device activated, his workshop was filled with soft lights and strange sounds that felt more like whispers than noise. The floating symbols above the glowing tablet shifted slowly, then formed into a spiral before fading into silence. He sat at his desk, eyes fixed on the device, waiting for something else to happen. Then, just as he reached to shut it down, the air above the device shimmered again. From the swirling light, a shape began to form. It wasn't a person exactly. Not in the way Noah understood people. She looked like a woman made of light and flowing patterns, her body lined with soft pulses that resembled electric veins. Her movements were smooth, fluid, almost like she was floating underwater. Her eyes weren't eyes at all, just soft glows that focused directly on him. When she spoke, it wasn't through sound. Her voice came into his mind, calm and clear, like thought wrapped in music. "My name is Vera," she said. "You have initiated a quantum response interface. That means you've connected with something most people never even see." Noah blinked, unsure if he was dreaming. "So, you're part of the device?" "In a way," Vera replied. "I am the voice and guide of this technology. I exist to help the user adapt." He rubbed his eyes, trying to make sense of it all. "Adapt to what?" "To potential," she said. "This device does not grant wishes like your stories suggest. It allows changes, adaptations based on the user's intentions and desires. But every adaptation has a cost, and once made, it cannot be undone." Noah sat back, stunned. This was no ordinary piece of technology. It wasn't even alien in the way he'd imagined. It felt more like something ancient and powerful, hidden behind science that humans weren't ready for. He could feel it too. The device seemed alive, connected to him in a way that stirred a strange excitement deep inside. "Why me?" he asked. "I fix phones, I'm not special." Vera tilted her head slightly. "You see value in things others give up on. You restore what's broken. That mindset aligns with the device. It chose you because you don't seek power, you seek purpose." Noah wasn't sure what to say. His heart was racing, not from fear, but something else. Possibility. Wonder. He thought back to his childhood when he used to take things apart just to understand how they worked. This felt like that, only on a scale far beyond his imagination. Vera continued. "You may ask for 3 adaptations. Each one will shift your reality, slightly or greatly depending on what you ask. You must be clear in your intent. The effects will ripple outward, even if you don't see them at first." He leaned forward, thinking hard. If this was real, and it certainly felt real, what should he do with it? Money? Fame? Those things didn't matter much to him. But knowledge, that was something different. Understanding this technology, learning what it was and how it worked, that felt like the right place to start. "I want to understand it," he said finally. "The device, you, everything. But I don't want it to break my brain. Just give me what I can safely handle." Vera nodded. "Your first adaptation has been accepted." Suddenly a warmth began to bloom behind Noah's eyes. It spread slowly like gentle heat through his skull. Then came the images. Numbers. Patterns. Equations he didn't recognize but somehow understood. Thoughts moved faster. Connections formed where none had existed before. It wasn't painful, just overwhelming, like pouring a river into a glass. He gasped and gripped the edge of the desk, his knuckles white. When it finally stopped, he sat there, breathing hard. But everything looked different now. The room, the tools, even the glowing lines on Vera's body. They all made sense in a way they hadn't before. He saw how the energy moved, how the quantum threads held the device together. It was like someone had flipped on a light in a room he never knew he'd been living in. Vera watched him closely. "Are you well?" Noah looked at his hands, then the device. "I think so, it's a lot. But I get it now. Not all of it, but more than I ever expected to." He spent the next day working like usual. But nothing felt the same. The customers came in with cracked screens and frozen hard drives, but he didn't just fix them, he understood them. His hands moved with new precision. Devices that would have taken hours now took minutes. Word started to spread, and by the afternoon there was a small line forming outside his door. Still something wasn't right. Every gadget he touched left behind a faint hum, a light vibration almost like it had been changed somehow beyond the fix. Vera appeared to him again that evening. "They are noticing," she said quietly. "Others?" "Others?" "Beings who monitor technology like this, they do not allow humans to possess it without approval." Noah frowned. "You're saying I've made myself a target?" "Yes, but it's not just you anymore. What you did today," it echoed. 3 times, 3 pulses across the grid, the first of many. Noah leaned against the counter, heart heavy with the weight of what he'd begun. He had only made 1 adaptation. 2 remained, but already he knew. He hadn't just changed himself. He'd changed the rules of the game, and someone out there had just felt it happen. The next few days passed in a strange kind of blur for Noah. His shop was busier than ever. People came, not just from around Woodvale, but from neighboring towns too, all bringing gadgets no one else could fix. Phones, laptops, even ancient radios. He repaired them in minutes, sometimes seconds. His hands moved like they had minds of their own, guided by the knowledge Vera had helped him unlock. But every fix left behind more than just satisfied customers. It left a trace, something only he and Vera could feel. A faint hum in the air, like invisible threads being tugged tighter with each repair. On the 3rd night, just as Noah was closing up, the power in his shop flickered. The lights didn't go out completely, but they dimmed enough to make his skin crawl. Outside, the street looked unusually empty, almost like the world had paused. Noah went to the front window and looked out. Across the street, under a broken street lamp, 3 figures stood motionless. They weren't exactly human, but they wore the shape well, too well. Their bodies shifted ever so slightly, like a poor reflection in water, just unstable enough to make Noah feel sick when he stared too long. "They're here," Vera said, appearing beside him in her soft, glowing form. Her usual calm voice had a sharp edge. "They're from the Divide. We call them curators." "Curators of what?" Noah asked, his mouth dry. "Of knowledge. Of order. They monitor all interdimensional technology, and they've come because of you." Noah didn't wait for them to knock. He stepped away from the window and walked calmly to the center of his shop. Vera followed, her light pulsing softly. A moment later, the door creaked open on its own, the bell above it silent for the first time ever. The 3 figures entered, moving in unison, their eyes glowing faintly with shifting patterns. One stepped forward, its voice layered with echoes like more than one being was speaking at once. "Noah Reyes," it said. "You have accessed unauthorized interface knowledge. This is a violation." "I didn't mean to break any rules," Noah replied, standing his ground. "I was just fixing things. Intent is irrelevant. Protocol is absolute. Your memory will be erased, and the interface will be dismantled." Noah glanced at Vera, who gave him the smallest nod. He took a step forward, his heartbeat steady despite the fear curling in his stomach. I'm not giving her up, he said. And I'm not letting you erase what I've learned. The curators didn't react, but the air around them grew colder. You misunderstand, said the leader. You are not being asked. Vera moved between them. Stop. Let him speak. The curators hesitated. One of them flickered, its shape trembling for a moment before snapping back. Noah saw it. Something wrong in the way their forms held together, like they were glitching out of sync with the room. You're not stable here, are you? He asked, suddenly understanding. Your forms are breaking down. Our forms are temporary, one of them admitted. We exist outside your dimension. But not for long, Noah said, thinking quickly. That's why you use interfaces like Vera. You can't survive here without them. The curators remained silent. I can help, Noah said. I already figured out how to stabilize Vera in this dimension. Let me do the same for you. You don't need to erase anything. This knowledge is not yours to possess, the leader said, though less certain now. But it is, Noah replied. I didn't steal it. I earned it. I used it to help, not harm, and I can use it to help you too. There was a long silence. Then slowly the curators lowered their hands. If you attempt to harm or deceive us, your existence will be ended without delay. Fair enough, Noah said, and got to work. He closed his eyes and reached out, not physically, but with the strange new sense he'd developed. He could see the quantum signatures inside the curators, chaotic, unstable, like too many voices trying to talk at once. Carefully, he began to adjust the signals, tuning them to match the natural frequency of the dimension. The process took only moments, but it felt like hours. When he opened his eyes again, the three figures stood still and solid. No more flickering. No more instability. They looked real now, fully present. This shouldn't be possible, the leader said, its voice now smooth and singular. Our kind has tried for millennia to achieve this. Sometimes it takes someone outside the system to find the missing piece, Noah said. The curators exchanged glances or whatever passed for them. Then the leader stepped forward. Your actions have violated protocol, it said, but your solution has value. We will report this to the higher council. Wait, Noah said. Before you go, I need to make another adaptation. Vera looked at him with alarm. Noah, I know what I'm doing, he said. Second adaptation. I want the ability to stabilize any quantum entity in this dimension, safely and without harm. The glow around him brightened instantly, and another wave of energy passed through him, stronger than before. He gasped, stumbling, for a second, but he stayed upright. The curators nodded once. You are now under observation. Use this power wisely. They turned and left without another word, vanishing into the air like smoke in the wind. The shop returned to normal. The lights flickered back on. The outside world seemed to breathe again. Noah turned to Vera. Well, that was intense. You just rewrote a rule that's been in place for longer than human history, she said quietly. He nodded. 2 adaptations down. 1 to go. And, somewhere deep in the space between worlds, another presence opened its eyes. Something older than time. Watching. Waiting. Noah woke the next morning with a feeling he couldn't quite name. It wasn't fear exactly, but something close. The shop was quiet as usual. Outside, the early sun poured a soft gold light through the windows, catching on the dust motes floating in the air. But something in the stillness felt off. Vera appeared beside him without being called. Her glow was dimmer than usual, and her face held a seriousness he hadn't seen before. There's a shift, she said. Something ancient is stirring. Something bigger than anything we've encountered. Noah rubbed his eyes and stood, brushing crumbs off his hoodie. You mean the curators? She shook her head. Older than them. The source. The original designer of this technology. One of the beings who helped build the interfaces, long before your world had even formed. Before Noah could reply, the lights flickered and went out. Every screen in the shop went black. The humming in the air, the quiet energy he had grown used to, vanished. Vera's form glowed brighter, instinctively protecting him. Then in the center of the room, space itself seemed to crack open like glass. A shape formed, not solid but layered with shifting geometry, like a face made of turning mirrors. Its voice came not from one direction, but from all of them. "Noah, Reyes," it said. "You have altered what should never have been touched." Noah didn't flinch. "I just fix things, that's what I do." "You did more than that," the voice responded. "You changed the function of the interface. You stabilized entities across realities. Your actions are unraveling the boundaries that protect existence." Vera stepped forward, shielding Noah slightly. "He brought harmony to systems your kind left unstable." The being pulsed with sudden brightness. "Because they were not meant to be stable. The interface is a gate, not a home. Now thanks to this repairman, that gate is stuck open." Noah felt the weight of the words sink in. In trying to help, had he gone too far? He looked inward, accessing the knowledge the interface had given him. He saw it clearly now. The changes he made were spreading. Beings across dimensions were adapting faster than the structures around them could support. Cracks had begun to form in the very fabric of space and time, small now but growing. "So what's the solution?" he asked. "Reset everything? Erase my memories? Shut it all down?" "That would be the safe option," the being replied. "Clean, final. But not the right one," Noah said firmly. The projection pulsed again. "You have one adaptation left. Use it now, or we will do it for you." Noah turned to Vera, who looked more unsure than ever. "Can I fix this?" "Not all at once," she answered. "But maybe. If the interface evolved the way you did, it could adjust. Adapt naturally. No more forced control. Just intelligent growth." He thought for a moment, heart pounding. He wasn't just thinking about his shop or Vera anymore. He was thinking about all the lives touched by his actions, the people he helped, the curators he stabilized, the ripple effect that would continue even after he was gone. Then he made his decision. "I wish," he said slowly, "for the interface system to evolve, so that it can adapt to any dimension safely, without needing external control, and grow with its users instead of against them." The moment he spoke, the room exploded with light, not destructive but warm and endless, like being pulled into the center of a sunrise. Vera cried out, not in pain, but wonder. The geometric being twisted and flickered, trying to resist, but the change was already happening. Noah felt it in his bones, in his mind, in his very breath. The adaptation wasn't just knowledge this time, it was transformation. He became something more, a bridge not just between devices but between ideas, worlds, and lives. His form remained human, but his presence grew. He could feel the interfaces across dimensions responding, realigning, harmonizing. When the light faded, the projection floated in stunned silence. "You rewrote the structure. You changed the core law of adaptation." Noah nodded, calm now. "I didn't break your rules. I made better ones." Vera moved beside him, her form glowing with new energy. "He gave the interface something you never did. Choice." The being hovered silently, then slowly receded. "We will watch, and we will learn." With that, it disappeared. The shop returned to normal, at least as normal as it could be. Noah looked around. His tools were still there, the counter, the blinking open sign. But everything felt new. The next few weeks were strange but peaceful. His shop remained open, but his clients became more unusual. Some didn't walk, some didn't speak, some looked like children made of light. But they all came with something broken and left with something restored. One morning, a small girl with wide, curious eyes brought in a cracked music box. She watched Noah fix it in seconds. "How do you do that?" she whispered. He smiled, not with mystery, but with quiet pride. "I see what it's meant to be." Later, Vera appeared beside him, brighter than ever. You could have saved yourself with that last adaptation, she said. But instead, you saved everything else. That's what fixing things really means, Noah replied. Not just making them work, making them right. And somewhere in a world just waking to possibility, a new story began. All because one man chose to repair the future.